Today on Between the Lines, the man who wrote the book that is known as the most trusted source on leadership, James Kouzes. I'm Barry Kibrick. James, along with his co-author Barry Posner, has written what is celebrated throughout the world as the definitive book on becoming a leader. With nearly 2 million copies sold, Jim joins us now with his 4th edition of the Leadership Challenge, a guide that inspires and encourages the heart so that we all may embark on a lifetime journey of significance and personal success.
I'm a writer today because I was a reader when I was 11 years old, and it was...
You do not need to prove your state of happiness to anybody.
Most of these speeches were as much as a month in preparation.
Characters, the heroes in this book, are seekers of truth in a story that involves a lot of corruption.
You don't get a chance to really talk about what's real, and it's the first thing to do.
Jim, what a pleasure it is to have you on Between the Lines. I was just telling you, every time I would have somebody with a business book on, there's almost none that doesn't reference the Leadership Challenge. So I think this is an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's my honor. We feel very blessed. Thank you.
Well, let me start, though, Jim, by letting people know that this really isn't a business book. I really think it's important for people to know that. This is really a leadership book on how to benefit your own self, how to lead with your own philosophy, how to, well, I want to read your words. It's getting extraordinary things done, the capacity to guide others to places they've never been before, and to strengthen your abilities and uplift your spirit.
Well, to us, my co-author Barry Posner and me, leadership is everyone's business. It isn't the private reserve of a few charismatic men and women or corporate CEOs or presidents of countries. It is really something you see in young people, from 8-year-old Girl Scouts to 80-year-old volunteers in the community who lead efforts to bring about some kind of significant change. So it really is something we feel very strongly. It is a set of skills and practices that apply to any of us.
You say, Jim, the first place to look for leadership is in yourself. And then you're clever enough to put a daily challenge for all. And every time I do these types of books, I want the viewers to know that these are challenges. You have to accept them, though. You have to grow, and you have to look within.
Yeah. Well, if I may tell you a story from Max Dupree. Max Dupree is the former CEO of Herman Miller Corporation, the furniture manufacturer. And Max tells this beautiful story about when his granddaughter Zoe, which is the Greek word for life, was first born, and she was born premature, and she did not stand a chance more than 10% of surviving 3 days, he was told. And so he wanted to get involved in her care, and we're happy to say today she's in her 20s and doing very well. But when he went to first visitors, she wasn't that way, and Max asked what he could do, and a wise and caring nurse told him that he should come to the hospital every day and rub Zoe's arms and her legs and her body with the tip of his finger. And as he caressed her, as the grandfather, he should tell her how much he loved her. And she said, because she has to be able to connect your voice to your touch. Oh, what a story. And Max went on to say, you know, Nurse Ruth was doing the absolute right thing for Zoe and for me as a grandparent to feel involved, but without realizing it, she was giving me the best possible lesson for the work of a leader. To become a leader, one need always connect one's voice to one's touch. But there is a prior task, finding one's voice in the first place. And I think that says it all.
Will you, and again, I want people to really get it out of their minds that this is a business book, because the thing that you tell us, in fact, to do, to find that voice, is this deep soul searching, because we probably could see these leadership abilities if we look back and search deeply, soulfully, but without punishing ourselves when we look back. But you want us to look back with a deep soul connection.
Yeah. It's important that we look back into what we've done really well. That's how we began our research, Barry, was asking people to look at times when they've done their best as a leader. And people from college students to young adults in the workplace to people who've been in executive positions for many, many years. And they would review their cases of past performance and tell us these stories, which became our basis for then analyzing what the factors were that contributed to that. And everybody has a story. That was kind of the first amazing thing. When asked, everybody has a story. If I were to ask you to think about when you put this show together and how that came about and what you had to do, my guess is that the patterns would seem very similar to what others have done as well. So it is something that with enough soul searching we can find in ourselves there. When we're operating at our best as leaders, we have some things that we do and they're shared by others who do the same kind of leadership practice.
You say in the book, the abundance of challenges, they're unlimited. We can find the challenge to gear ourselves up and to take this leadership seriously and responsibly. You say, though, it's not the issue of the challenge, it's how we respond to it that matters. A theme I've used in previous shows and one that comes out throughout this book, because in every life, in every business, in every family, in every organization, challenges, that's the name of the game, how you're going to respond.
One of the people we interviewed said, adversity introduces you to yourself, which is so important when you put that together with finding your voice. When you encounter adversity, you want to know as a constituent that the leader is clear about their character, their values and beliefs. Well, excuse me, Barry, we have to put this challenge on hold for a few minutes because I have to go out and build my character. Adversity introduces us to the character we've already developed over those years and exposes those values and beliefs. And that's what we base our actions upon, or should at any rate, to be consistent with values and beliefs, to connect our voice and our touch. We have to be clear about what it is that's important to us. And when that meaning is there, adversity is not easy, but it is something that's meaningful to us because it's important that we deal with this challenge.
You let us know that great leaders are not necessarily born. They have to develop and work. And you also let us know that they're not rare. The fact of the matter is, and I love this about the book, is that the fact is we do great work all the time. That's how the society survives. We have great leaders doing great things, and they're probably just your neighbor, your average Joe. But you do give us a little bit of a guideline of what we should pay attention to. You call them the 5 practices. As I said to you earlier, each practice we can spend a show on. So I just want to take a note that I found of particular interest and expound on it for us. The 5 practices are model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. My favorite one. We'll start at the top though. Model the way. In this case, you want us, as you said before, clarify our values. That's the important thing. And the words and the deeds must be consistent.
Yeah, model is 2 things. It's about first being clear about what we value and believe in. It's finding our voice, as Max Dupree so eloquently put it. And then it's making sure that when we take action, we align our actions with our words. It's practice what you preach, put your money where your mouth is, walk the talk, all those familiar phrases. And model is essentially those 2 things. And it's the fundamental foundation. It's what people look to when they're determining whether we have that fundamental character, whether we are someone who can be considered credible as a leader.
Next you have, and I don't believe these are in any particular order, shared vision. They must have intimate knowledge of